still in the good season because we were at the end of May.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Joe was so drunk that he forgot that the gunpowder has to be dry.
Right. Yeah.
The Texas is very wet.
Yeah.
So in some way he kept.
He brought gunpowder along to Washington on the plane. What plane?
He take all
his
the
executive
components.
jet.
The components were the same that we have already used.
Yeah, right. But on his private jet?
Yes.
Okay, not on a commercial. Okay.
They took all the components that we have used for nearly 2 months in College Station and brought to Washington. Then an unfortunate thing happened to him because unfortunately when the time came, because Tilander wanted me to be present to this test, but unfortunately I was not an American citizen.
Right.
So they didn't allow me to enter the Navy laboratory.
Right.
So at the last moment I was left out.
Yeah.
And Champion was a little worried about this.
Who was?
Champion.
Yeah.
Because at that time Bokis did not let him enter the laboratory to make the tests, except the first. Later I made all the tests. So he was more confident on me because I had results better than his own.
Right.
So he wanted me everywhere, and I knew it.
Who wanted you everywhere?
Champion.
Champion, right.
He called also Merlin, and Randy took the name from Champion. He used to call me Merlin.
No, right.
Merlin.
Right.
Because he was making Merlin.
In this 6-month period, Randy came. Randy
came after.
After.
Because
after Washington.
After Washington. Randy came when we went to the annual corporation. Because
through
Pogis we were able to contact the annual corporation because one of the head of research of the annual corporation had some knowledge with Pogis. So after the contact with the Navy failed, we decided, Tilander decided to try to make an agreement with the annual corporation to establish a mine in somewhere in the States. Mm-hmm. Anyway, let's go again to Washington. So why was kept out of the office? I think that, as usual, Champion was drunk, so he didn't pay attention to the fact that the powders were nearly wet, because later he thought that maybe perhaps the powders were not well closed. Right. So during the trip, especially the potassium nitrate was wet.
Was wet.
So
it can't work.
They was not able to dry the ignition.
They couldn't ignite it. They had made this big mixture and they couldn't do it.
But they wasn't able to ignite.
Right.
Only, moreover, they didn't know that to ignite to start the ignition, you have to use a particular way.
What particular way?
At the time, they take a torch.
A torch.
To start, but it's not the better way.
You could light it any way you want. There's no.
Yeah, no. I mean, no. The best thing is what I use normally is first when if you have some methyl hydrate, just wet the piece of cotton with and pat down. Otherwise, you can take because with the fertilizer this works well, but with the pure potassium.
K2NO3 or KNO3 is potassium nitrate.
Right. Which was of chemical purity, is very difficult to be ignited. Mm-hmm. So the best way is take a piece of iron, pat it to the red hot, then let it fall down and the engine starts.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
It was ridiculous start as they used, but Joe knew neither.
So it didn't work at all?
No, not at all.
So they never had a test?
No. So
never had a test for the government. And what was the upshot? What eventually came of that government?
The government always said, go away. The rest is you are supposed to do it. Tilander, moreover, because we had already had 6 positive tests, wanted me to he didn't want me to go back to Italy. I was a little worried because I decided in Italy.
He wanted you to go back to Italy?
No, he didn't want me to go because I knew everything. I knew all the further. he asked me, what if I shall make you have the American citizenship, make of you an American citizen? I said, well, if you pay me enough, I can stay here.
Right.
But fortunately, because I was not so happy to remain in the United States,
Right.
fortunately the experiment didn't go.
If it had worked, what would have
Didn't
happened,
work.
do you think?
So
If they had made gold, what would have happened? Do you think the United States government would have paid for this somehow?
I don't know.
It was almost like an extortion too. It was like, we are going to start making gold.
Yes,
and,
yes.
And,
but they would have sold this for, let's say, a few $millions, the formula and
Right.
all the information they had, and it was enough for Tilander.
Mhm.
Because the operation with the banks was going bad.
Mhm.
So he alerted to the U.S.
Mhm.
government.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, the test went badly. We were still in the good season, so if Joe Samuel would have been able to ignite the reaction, the result would have been good.
Right.
Certainly, at least the production of radioactive, of new radioactivity. So we went back to College Station in a very bad mood because there were all this money spent, all the business with the U.S. government finished. So they thought what to do. They consulted.
and the Chinese were mad.
The Chinese already went.
Right.
So what to do? They decided through Boffice to get in touch with the Engelert Corporation.
The what corporation?
The Engelert,
Engelert. Okay, Engelert. Okay.
one of the biggest
Yes.
dealers of
Right,
noble
right,
metals.
Right.
Boffice was able to get Tilander and Borg in touch with the
Engelert.
We went to first visit to Engelert. We visited all.
Where were they located? New Jersey.
New Jersey. I obviously accompanied all the tapes found because at the time Joe was not making a movie without me. I went there.
Because you went after the failure of the U.S. thing, the government
Yes.
thing.
After that, we went to
Engelert.
Engelert.
And
in
did
New
you make a
Jersey.
test?
We were nearly at the end of the good season. So the first test was very good. All bad.
At Engelert?
It was exactly what they supposed because they made what I've really reported in the 90s. They got as a result the production of two isotopes very short-lived. One in 20 hours could become gold, was radioactive platinum,
Right.
and the other was radioactive rhodium, which went in palladium. So it was impossible to make a take on this test because they show us making the
Did
test.
Engelert see the
Engelert
radioactive?
made the yes. I went there. I started again. The ignition was given to me because I remember that one of the Engelert scientists was trying to ignite. He thought that he was afraid of the explosion. I said, "No, go."
Yeah.
Then I take his hand and pat into it until it does.
It goes
Right.
under the hood, and
if
you checked the radioactivity.
Yeah. 2 weeks later, the result was positive. They found the radioactivity. They found the exact isotopes that we told. One coming from decay of mercury, the second coming from decay of lead.
Yeah.
And so
They found it.
they found it and they
Yeah.
decided to make the business. At this point came another. We were
They decided
at
to.
the beginning of
They
June.
decided to go into business.
Yes.
With
At this
Tilander
point-
and Champion.
Yes, yes. At this point, Tilander, in the meantime, through another friend of his in California, were in touch with the Jackson family, which were ready to invest $20 million in the business. So they spent many. For this reason, we went so often to San Francisco, to Los Angeles, and San Diego because they were in touch.
You met
with
the Jacksons.
The Jackson
You
came
did.
to College Station.
Yes.
I made the test for them. Randy,
You did, in College Station.
Randy, seeing me working, called me, you are Marilyn Manley.
Right.
I made some work for them.
You did.
It was still the good season.
The visible propel gold.
And so Randy was very excited. But they spent too much time in the contractations. They spent nearly, to make it short, when they were ready to establish a touch, to get in touch with the Engelert Corporation, and we came from
New Jersey.
We came. We were already in California. First, we got the lawyers of the Jackson family. Then we stopped in Wichita to get other lawyers for the safety of Tilander. Then we went. Tilander for the occasion bought a big plane. We could stand some 30 people with Randy and all his father and all that. And we went to New Jersey. And there they resulted spotted, and they spent another week in transportation. At the end, they came out after 2 days of discussion with all the lawyers. because the Mexican were so terrible, they were discussing for days and days. I remember that by about 11 o'clock in the evening, they came out, yes, we made the deal. If we are able to show, considering the production of gold, they are ready to invest on us $10 million to make a plant.
England.
England, yeah. This was really confident. The only condition was to show.
This was before the test or after the test?
After the
test.
yes, because the show result which was impossible to explain except with nuclear reaction, because we made a short-lived isotope of the right. We indicated that the reaction should have made two exact isotopes, short-lived isotopes.
And they saw it.
And they found through the ICP, the mass spectrometry,
they found
exactly the same.
They found it.
Yes, they found
England.
it. Yeah.
And of course, that data was never published.
No.
No, but they have it.
Yes.
So one of the largest precious metals companies in the world has the data.
Yes, but they didn't believe because, as I repeat, when they made all the agreements signed by the lawyer and so on, they decided the last condition is that you can show the production of gold again in even bigger quantity, which could be made.
Yeah.
Because we had some. I knew, and also Joe knew how to increase the amount. Unfortunately, it was really July.
Right.
It was late.
It was the end.
And so I tell Joe, according to my
ideas,
it's not the right time. Are you sure that you can make in this season? He said, no, I'm sure. I made all during the year. Anyway, I'm not the responsible. You are the director.
Yeah.
And I started to keep aside from Joe because I wasn't understanding. It was not. He knew nothing about.
But you had told him about the seasonal effect.
Yes, but he didn't believe me.
He didn't believe you.
Because it seemed to him, for this he was
it does sound ridiculous, I must say. The whole thing sounds ridiculous, but that's particularly sounds ridiculous.
Yes, exactly. But this is in everywhere, but he has never read an academic book.
Right.
As a matter of fact, when you came to the final test in New Jersey, it was already July, and obviously it came out negative. So even
the whole deal was off at that point.
The deal was off because the final condition.
But if that had succeeded.
Oh yes, the contract was already signed.
And what do you think Englert would have done? Engelhard? What would they have done?
Better control the metal.
Would they have started producing it? They wouldn't have announced it to anyone.
No. They want to make by themselves to control better the market. They want to make a private and secret factory in some part of the United States.
How do they compare with Johnson and Matthey?
They are connected in some way.
They're connected.
Yeah, because these people are, the precious metal market is well controlled by 2 or 3 companies in the world.
So that failed.
Yeah.
Then Jackson came in.
No. Jackson came when the business was very good, because the first test was positive.
Yes. And so how did he leave? How did they leave?
When the test made in July came negative, also the Jackson family said.
So they went out at the same time as Engel. And that was the end of the whole thing.
Exactly. Because at the point Tillander was starting to suppose that Joe was lying.
Right. Did he cheating maybe? Lying?
No. In some way, Tillander was not able to understand what was happening because he had no knowledge of.
No knowledge of anything. To this day, do you think he thinks that it's real? It was real?
Probably he thinks that it
was a fraud.
It has been always some kind of
a fraud.
Or fraud.
Tillander does. What do you think Champion thinks?
Champion knows that he has had some time positive results, but he cannot explain except accepting the seasonal effect that in some period you have no result. So now I think he's going to understand what errors he has made, but now he's in jail again.
Right. But if he gets out again, when he gets out, he will start in again.
Probably, but it will be too late. Because in the meantime, I made Monti American.
You make what?
I made the Monti American Corporation. Because in these
Monti
years,
America, right.
Yeah.
And it's based in
He has already been in jail once, then he came out. Then he has been jailed again, and this time he has been sentenced for 10 years. The first time when Tillander caused him to go back to jail, he was sentenced, I think, for 3 years. So 1 year later or 2, he was out again. But now I think he's still in jail.
When was the Monti America Corporation formed?
Formed in after Vancouver.
After Vancouver, right, I remember. And the Bowers control it.
Yes.
Is it a U.S.
that's
company or a Canadian company?
No, it has been founded, placed in Nevada because of,
The good policies there.
but the offices are in Vancouver.
Offices are in Vancouver. And who works in these offices?
The Bowers.
The Bowers. Hey, what's his first name?
Ernie Bauer is the man,
Ernie
and
Bauer.
Elizabeth Anderson is now his wife.
Candy is her name, or
No, Taffy.
Taffy.
Ellen, but his real name is Eleanor Anderson.
Oh.
She's a nice smart lady.
Mm-hmm.
So, because at the time, after all the story, which I can make too late to tell, because the story followed after we went back to California.
Yeah.
We had big problems with
Securities and Exchange.
No, between Tilander and Champion.
Right.
Tilander was very angry with Champion because he had already spent about $2 million in this business.
And the whole thing was fair.
Finished. So he said, what do you think about Champion? I said, according to me, he knows not much about alchemy.
Yeah, so you were the reference that kind of got
reference.
Champion in trouble, but legitimately, because Champion...
Not only, but then...
Champion probably doesn't like you.
Probably at the time.
Yeah.
He always hoped to because he knew that he could learn from me.
You're right.
So he always
You have the ultimate information on the
probably.
planet. Yeah.
Anyway, after that we went. Tilander was very angry, and he decided to give to the champion the last occasion. So we moved. He knew some people in Chicago.
Yeah.
And
he was angry with him in
and he did tell me,
in San Diego.
I give you
one more chance.
In California. At the time we were in Napa Valley because Tilander had a house in Napa Valley and office in Napa Valley. Mm-hmm. I shall give you the ultimate chance. This is why I went to Chicago. He found a friend of his whom he wanted to involve in the business, had a refinery for gold. They take the old gold and refine it. Mm-hmm. He gave to Champion the last occasion to make a test, saying that if you are not able, I will kill you.
Kill you? Literally kill you?
Oh yes, he wanted to. He was very angry. As a matter of fact, we were at the Chicago, I don't remember, the big hotel of Chicago, and every evening, as usual, from 6 o'clock on, they were drunk. But Champion remained in his own room, and Tilander spent most of the time with me. And when he was drunk, he was discussing with me the different way in which he could have killed the champion.
Was he going to hire people?
Yeah, because he had some friends in the mafia of Chicago. Also the mafia. Because and he said, Dr. Monti, what do you think I have to do with Champion? In which way I have to kill him? So, I don't know. Make the Steven shows and put him to the river. And what do you think about his wife and the son? No, I said, no, why kill little Robert? Little Robert is too young. But I want to kill his wife because, leave Robert without his mother. So at the end you conclude that only Joseph has to be killed and the wife and the son could be alive. And so I was listening the drunk Tilander, which was every night was trying to find a new way to kill Joseph.
But then later the securities and
but not only. But at that time, all the group of Tilander collected together in Chicago, and obviously we were out to sea.
What was this? Is this 93 or still 92?
92.
92 still.
After July, it was already the end of August. When we went to, I remember, yes, it was the end of August because I was.
Bockhurst didn't go on any of these trips.
No, after he came to Washington.
He did go to Washington.
He came to the Engler Corporation because
he did.
But he didn't came to Chicago. I've known that he came later to Chicago.
Okay.
Because
what was the group in Chicago?
Well, the group
laboratory
connected with the mafia.
A group connected with the mafia in Chicago.
In Chicago. So it's better I don't make the name of it.
Right.
And
was it a scientific group that they used?
They recycled the old gold. They collected all the gold from computers, from they put in the enormous crucibles, electric, and they take out the gold.
Right.
And so they were ready. They were able to make the experiment.
Easily.
They had all the machinery to take the smoke out. So at the time, they didn't use a closed machine as I use, a closed reactor. Now I can make the reaction everywhere because I
Completely enclosed.
divided completely closed,
Right.
especially in view of the radioactive problem, because nothing has to come out. So at the time we were still making an enormous amount of smoke when they make the reaction. It seems like something very similar to the old figures of the alchemists, with the smoke coming out.
But now you have the Monti Corporation,
Yeah,
and the objective is going to be to remediate nuclear waste.
Yeah.
Monti America.
yeah, material occupation.
And you can
Because the Bowers always worked in the remediating the industrial waste.
right.
At the time they had some excess money, they wanted to invest in something new, and so they came to know first of Jack Keller, then they went to visit Jack Keller while I was in Italy.
Yeah.
This is another
After
long
you're back.
part of the story.
This is long after.
Oh yes.
Yeah, long after.
Yeah,
and then they
because-
somehow found out about you.
Now I
and-
can. Because when I came in Chicago, I tried to understand what really went on. So as I was becoming good friend with Nancy allowed me to see all the story of the champion, the lawsuits, and so she told me that she was involved in some child abuse,
Some what?
child abuse.
That he was involved in child abuse.
Yeah. That he was been sentenced, that he has been in, with the CIA for that operation,
right.
which went back.
All kinds
so
of
I
bad
knew
things.
all the, I saw all
Yeah.
the, not only, but up to that moment, I thought that Jack Keller was dead. Because at the time, Joe Champion, then
He told you.
no, didn't told me. It was by chance. While we were in Chicago, there was another lawyer of Tilander, which was because the champion at the time came from Chicago. This lawyer was from Chicago. Probably it was he who made the connection with the mafia, Chicago mafia, because he was present in the Chicago hotel. And one evening, while champion was closed in his room because he was very afraid. At the time, he was really thinking that he could be killed by.
Yeah.
And while everybody was there, I came to say, well, it's a real pity that the old man was died because he probably could have had the information that Joe Champion has not. So this lawyer said, but Jack Keller is not dead. I said, what? He's not dead. But at this point, everything what they made was a fault because I already Nancy had already shown me that Joe Champion signed an agreement with Jack Keller to be his representative. He had only some percent of the event profit, so he signed the contract.
Yeah, with Champion.
He had the contract with Champion.
But through all of this, Champion never told you about, told anybody.
No, not tonight. But Tilander had to know because the bunch of paper which Nancy brought me one evening while Tilander was drunk was in the office of Tilander.
Yeah.
So
you knew that
Tilander knew that Jack Keller was alive.
I was alive, and that some of the thing had to be shared with him.
Yes, obviously, because if anything could have come to the knowledge of Jack Keller, he could say, wait, I have an agreement with the champion.
Right.
You can say.
Right.
So I was really surprised because I was convinced that Jack Keller was
dead.
what I meant. So when I learned from, I asked him, are you sure that Jack Keller is alive? Yes, and I met him a few months. I said nothing. I said, Nancy, we have to go at the end of the story. So we have to go to visit Jack Keller. And so, obviously, when Tilander was no more drunk, he was very angry with Nancy for knowing that I know the story of Jack Keller alive and so on. So he didn't want, then I told Tilander, according to my opinion, it's the case to go to Jack Keller and to see how is the story. And Tilander refused to go. Not only, but he prohibited to Nancy to make any move of this. So, together with Nancy, we decided to make a small trick. We decided to go for a few days of holiday in San Diego at Nancy's house. Nancy had a daughter, and there's a very nice house in San Diego because he's from Jewish families. He was in good condition. And while we were in San Diego, So we left champion in the Thailand in Chicago. We we take a flight for San Diego. Then from San Diego, because Nancy had the cousin in Seattle, we went to Seattle, and finally we went to that small town near the Columbia River, to the house of Jack Keller. And there finally I could see Jack Keller alive, and I know all the rest of the story, which is another very long story.
Yeah, about how he got the formula from Lucic. And,
Exactly.
And Lucic was American.
Really dead. Yes, was American.
American.
But was really dead because all the three people died from cancer. Probably because they were working without knowing that. Or
it was
without
radioactive.
taking, yes, because they were making 100 kilograms of platinum mainly. This was
they were making what?
Platinum.
They were making
kilograms.
They had made
100 kilograms of platinum. They were
on a batch or total.
No, total pure. Platinum bars. They were.
They made many 100-kilogram platinum bars.
They were entering in the bad way in the platinum market, which is a very controlled market. So some people went to Troy Becker, saying that they had to stop to make platinum. They could make all the gold they want, but
and so could you.
They had to stop making platinum. Platinum was not allowed.
Right.
They obviously said not. Then they find a way to Troy Becker to sweet. And Troy Becker accepted to be sent 5 years for fraud because he never told how he could make such amount of platinum from an ore which contained very little amount. But he never gave out the secret. He spent 5 years of his life in jail.
Without giving the secret? He's still alive?
Yes, because later, when I was really working at the bar, through Nancy Mitchell, one day while he was, I called Nancy because we remained in very friendly relation. And told me, you know, Monti, I learned that Troy Becker is still alive because I saw that Troy Becker was sold according also to the paper which I read. As a matter of fact, he was already 85 years old. Troy Becker is alive.
He's 85 years old.
He's in Seattle.
Yes.
Really? I said. So I want to visit him immediately. So I went first to make a visit with Nancy Mitchell at the Troy Becker's house. I had all the story which is supposed to learn now because it's a long story. Which
Troy Becker gave us a huge story.
Yeah, because of which Champion was not aware because Champion knew only Jack Keller. Even Jack Keller was not behaving, but at the time I was already broken with him because even Jack Keller, at the information, told me that Troy Becker was dead.
Right. So they were all telling you. But Troy Becker was Troy Becker and Lucic.
They made the society with Troy Becker, Lucic,
and they were making platinum, lots of platinum.
Platinum and gold.
In what years, would you say?
In the first 80s.
And you have little doubt of this?
What?
You have very little doubt that they were doing that?
Oh, yes, because I've seen...
what have you seen?
I've seen the laboratory of Troy Becker, because when they used to live, Seattle was not so large as it is now. So practically, his whole laboratory was still in the house that we went into, and in the small cave near the house, there were still enormous crucibles ready to make.
Was there evidence of precious metals lying around?
Oh yes, he showed me big pieces like these photos of pieces of gold.
Of platinum.
They made gold. No, gold and platinum. They made gold and platinum mainly. Obviously, they had most pieces, and even rhodium. Enormous amount of rhodium, because one man from of the three men, if I remember, find a way to extract selectively the rhodium from the ore, which if after the process, because the rhodium is now used intensively as a catalytic converter, and is 10 times more expensive than platinum and gold. So I see that there was Troy Becker was real, and Lucic were real. They found a way. I saw all the letters that they sent. I could examine all the documentation, which was. I remember that we were still in Chicago, and while Joe was closed in his room, Tilander was drunk in the floor, and Nancy gave me all the paper, and while sat in the near the door, It was
The documentation on
yeah.
on the
Such
Troy
a big
Becker
amount, Troy
stuff.
Becker, all the names on
Tell me, does it go all the way back?
Yeah.
Is there a way of tracing where Troy Becker and Lucic got this? Does it come from Europe, maybe?
No. They came from. Lucis was of European origin, so George Samuel supposed he was from slave origin, but on the contrary, then I learned that. Yeah, I remember even the name of the. He was born in Cliellum, a town near the house of Cliellum, something like this, which was an old mining town near the place where Jack Kelly lived.
Mm-hmm. But it somehow had to have come ultimately from much earlier days, because they didn't just develop that out of thin air.
Probably, but I cannot.
No one can trace it.
No, I cannot go beyond.
Do you think there are other people today in the world doing
yes,
platinum and gold production?
Or controlling in some way the effect, because the most interesting part of this production is that what you got as the final result. The making of precious gold was only
there's only one isotope of gold.
Test, no, yes, but to test that the powder was the right one. After that, you dissolve the powder in water, you drink it, and you have the elixir of long life.
Right. Well, that was what the alchemists thought.
That right. No, it was real.
It was what? What was real?
I think that it's real because finally. Taffy gave me a review in which they speak of two nuns in Poland. One is 800 years old.
How long?
800 years old, and the other is 400 years old, with the photos. So this is why last winter I went to Poland to try to find them. Because I knew that, because you know that Italy is a Catholic
yes, country. Sure.
I knew that there was a tradition according to which there were people, strange people who never died, and so they used to place them in a monastery in far places.
Really?
And they forget there. These women, as a matter of fact, were confined in this monastery for the one for 800 years and the other for 400.
Did you meet them?
No, because when I went I found the confraternity of monastery. But when I made the name of the article, I cannot speak with you anymore. So it was impossible to go on. So
someone who was there, who knew about the story.
Yeah, so they were immediately afraid when as soon as I spoke of the two nuns, they said, stop, we don't want to speak with you anymore.
Right.
And obviously, there was none.
But it's the idea that you could drink this elixir. Does Taffy believe this?
I also believe it. Because
you believe it?
Yeah, because I know by many information, all the things which I learned from the chemical books prove to be true. Why not this? Well,
why not
they
this?
are already finding the way to recreate the DNA, to reconstruct.
Yes.
Anyway, I know that
I can believe the inorganic chemistry. I find it difficult to believe how just ingesting something would do it.
Anyway, I'm on this path and I shall follow it.
Yeah, you're on the trail.
Yeah, because one of the main products of this story is that you can make as a byproduct the ambient temperature superconductors, which is a good business. Mm-hmm. So, in fact, as a matter of fact, the next step
for Monti America
is to make high temperature superconductors.
If you could make ambient temperature superconductors.
Yeah. Solid.
Have you done them yet?
I know all the details of this because this is another part of the story. Later, we came in touch with David Hudson, a strange man of Phoenix, Arizona. But this has a new story.
David Hudson,
David Hudson.
Yeah. Well, what do you think of him?
Now he's failed because he knew nothing. He found this discovery by chance because he only knew that some miners in Arizona could take out from sand an enormous amount of noble metals. Mm-hmm. They didn't know that they were transforming the monatomic element, the monatomic gold, which looks like
white powder,
white powder and silica.
What is monatomic gold? I mean, it's a special form.
You know that the noble metals are metals and only within a limited cluster. For example, iridium is iridium, I don't know, up to 8 atoms. When you go beyond 8 atoms, you cannot trace any more iridium. Gold is
you can't see it as iridium any longer.
You cannot. It's something which is no more iridium and no more the metallic properties and so on.
Right.
It acquires new properties. Also, this becomes a superconductor.
So monatomic is when you have just a few atoms.
One atom.
One atom.
The goal is diatomic. So there is a long process, well known by the alchemists, which now I think I learned, to make it monatomic. As a matter of fact, what the time corresponds, because you take at least 1 month to
Make
go
it monatomic.
to one of the stop which goes to the monatomic. Then you need about 2 months of work, but finally you arrive to the monatomic gold, which was known by the Egyptians. It's well written in the papyrus, because that was the food for the pharaoh. The monatomic gold it was called the manna, which means what is it? And it's called, later it became distorted as manna, the manna.
In the Bible.
Yeah, which is called to be the some seeds which came out down from the sky.
Yeah.
On the contrary, is monatomic gold, which can be given as a food, because when you use this monatomic gold, this is also a chemical reason, you don't need to eat, you have only to drink, and you get the energy from outside, because you become a superconductor. So here we're going
Really far. But
let's stop here because
tell me, we'll stop here.
Yeah.
How many, just tell me, Monti America Corporation, Taffy, Ernie, and you, but you have to have other people in this company
yes, as a matter of
to
fact,
work and do things.
yes, no.
Where will laboratories be? Or are
No, at the moment we have another laboratory.
You know,
in which
have
we
no-
worked in Canada.
You have
In
a laboratory in
property
Canada.
in a property that they bought, that already bought, and where they prepared a cabin for me where to make the test. In this cabin I made from 95 to last year all the tests to prepare the way to destroy the radioactivity. After that, because
You can remediate radioactivity.
now we can. After this, they have started a plan to sell shares to private investors. Which, some of them have already been found, so I shall not say anything
Right.
about this.
Are they prominent people or?
Yes. Also, I think that they've shown to be able to move very well, so I'm confident in that.
Okay.
Anyway, they have to deal with the business part. So
You do it with the science.
I do
Right.
with the science.
Right.
I'm confident with them. In these years, I've had no occasion to be
Nervous.
to find them not
Right,
reliable.
honest.
They are reliable
Honest.
people. Every month they pay me the money.
Do they intend to? Their main objective is to do good things.
First, because their business was in the remediation of the waste, so they wanted to. They were very interested in the radioactive waste
Right.
problem. But little by little, while I solved the problem, I was speaking also which was my real goal. It was not obviously, because I made the
What was your real goal? You know,
the philosopher's stone.
Philosopher's Stone, eternal life.
So it was only a step toward. For them, as a matter of fact,
Research to find the Philosopher's Stone.
As a matter of fact, be quiet. As a matter of fact, I never spoke about this with the Bowers. I only spoke neither that I was able to make some gold. I only said I am able to destroy the radioactivity. This I proved to be able
Proved
to.
to them.
And
You've proved it to them to their satisfaction.
satisfaction. Then we went to the NL laboratory to have an official test, because the tests that we made were not considered. But this in Saluzzo also we had a similar situation in test. They wanted to make the test. I had to be out of the laboratory.
You had to be out.
Yes, we only gave them the powder, and they gave the uranium.
Right.
Because the uranium is not available in the market. We can't find. I could work with thorium because it was available through the lantern mantles.
Yes.
But I was never able to work with uranium. The only uranium which I could achieve was through the Enea. The Enea gave me.
Right. And then they did those tests.
5 grams uranium each time, so we have already destroyed at least 20, 30 grams.
And that's on an official document.
Yes. The one they gave you a copy.
You
Because,
gave me the copy.
yeah, because we made a contract with them for the waste remediation. The agreement, you see, can see that we gave them the powder already prepared. They add the uranium, then we start the ignition, and then
They test it.
They test it before and after, and they see that.
What does Scaramucci think of this?
What?
What does Scaramucci think of this?
Camus knows nothing because it's another laboratory in Saluzzi.
Okay, so he doesn't know about it.
No, he knew, but
He doesn't believe it.
In '89, I went to Scaramucci to tell him we can make this reaction. He thought he never considered it because he thought I was mad. It was crazy. Because I've already been there talking about the Crosiani model and the Crosiani man. As a matter of fact, very probably when I gave the press conference about in 1989, the press agent of Scaramucci was at the conference, and a few days later, Scaramucci came out with the cryogenic fusion.
He did? He did? He came out with that word?
Yeah, because I told them to work in cryogenic.
That's right. Oh, and then he did the low temperature.
And then this is why he went to the very low temperature. He worked with because he got information from me. But obviously, he knew only this.
Yeah.
So
could you write where you are, where I can contact you, and you should go. Where can I contact you?
When?
I don't have your address. No.
In Bologna?
In Bologna.
You can find me at Istituto.
Tutto.
TASRE line CNR National Research Council via Gorbetti 101 40 129 Bologna, Italy. And my office telephone number is 051 639 8702. The fax is 24 fax, and my mobile telephone, where I am always, is 0347 4109 305. This is mine. You can always find me because I have a cellular with a 3-band.
Do you have email or no?
Oh yes, the email is on the paper which I gave you.
Yeah. Or do you know it offhand?
Oh, this is Monti.
Monti.
At Tessere. I don't. Maybe some dots.
All right, but it's on the paper. It's on the paper. Good. Istituto Tessere CNR. What does CNR stand for?
National Research Council, Consiglio Nazionale di Ricerche.
Yeah. Via Gobetti
101, 101.
101.
40, this is
four?
postal code.
4?
Yeah.
0129
129
9.
Bologna.
Yeah, Bologna, Italy.
This is the office
Monti,
telephone number.
yeah, Tessere.
And this is the fax number.
051 639 8702.
Or 8724 fax.
Yeah,
And this is my
24.
24. And this is my mobile telephone.
Okay.
The one which I have.
Okay.
Here.
4. Is this a 4?
Yes, 4109.
4109
305.
Okay.
You can, even if I'm in the States, I shall be connected because I have a 3-band telephone. You can work.
Your cell phone is always.
Yes.
As long as you're with it.
I can work in Australia, Asia, India, Europe, United States, Russia. I shall go to Russia.
You have contacts all over the world now? Everywhere? Monti, America?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a privately held corporation.
Yeah. And also the offer is a private offer. We don't patent the money. We only are looking for private good investors.
Right.
Not
I understand.
common people.
Right. Okay. Wonderful.
This is only a small part of the story because
We will talk again.
yes.
This is
First we signed agreement.
Yeah. Let me say this.
My idea is, if I can, because it takes days to tell all the details, also the amusing part of the story, because that some parts are really amusing, like the one how Nancy came to know that Tiranda was the woman's son, an incredible amount of
I know.
human story.
But there are a bunch of things here. It will take me a while to think about this because there's so much.
No,
but
the
possibility,
an agreement to
yeah,
write
a book. A book would be fantastic.
And after the book.
A movie would be fantastic. It can occur in parallel. It can occur in parallel.
Mafia,
Beyond comprehension. It's beyond comprehension.
Yeah.
It's almost beyond.
Incredible.
Well, the most difficult thing about it
But
is
it's not true.
how to well, know what to do. I will think about this. The key thing is that if it's anchored, there's an anchor, an anchor. The whole thing would sound completely insane, and no one would believe it. You could tell the whole story. That makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
Okay. Except, certain facts can be identified.
Now are becoming to be known because
You see now because, what were you going to say?
because now they have found transmutation is solid, Matsumoto.
Right.
Matsumoto.
Right.
No, Matsumoto.
Everything. Mitsubishi.
Not the Mitsubishi, but the man, the Japanese, the tall Japanese is now Mizuno has always followed my lectures in Tessen. He was in Tessen. He followed me when in '93 when I kept the private lectures in Nagoya, and finally he came out with the right answers.
Right.
As a matter of fact,
but see,
I thought when he finished his piece, I went to him and said, "Good, we are on the right path. Go on."
Good. The thing is, it's now being anchored, and therefore, the crazy story, which has documented facts, the jailings and the trips and the everything can be validated, but it is becoming anchored now in a science.
Yes, exactly.
And that will make a book or a movie superb.
Yeah. Because very soon I think they will be ready to make some contests, so we shall start to destroy the nuclear waste on a wide range,
On what?
Probably
on
we shall be able to make agreements with certain nations to destroy the nuclear waste.
Right.
And this will on
Do you think you will be able to do that?
I think that now I can certainly destroy 5 kilograms of uranium a day.
How many?
5 kilograms of uranium each day without
a day.
any problem.
You can do that.
Yeah. And if you increase
can you deal with mixed radioactive waste? Or
yes.
just no? Can you take fission waste and
yes.
remediate?
Mainly I've used with thorium and the uranium because the thorium was available to me up a few years ago because the Rantan Mandals now has been retired by the Congress because they were very radioactive. I could get 20 grams of thorium burning mantles, so it was really only the Chinese man.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Could you do radioactive cesium, radioactive iodine?
Probably yes, because the principle is the same. I only to find the right components. For example, I had to make some adjustment to destroy uranium, like the one which I make with the silicon.
Are they all by ignition, basically? Ignition type things?
Yes, the principle is those kind of
thermal action.
The gunpowder. Then you have to find the right composition to study the other new, which nobody knew years ago. Now I'm obliged to disclose this is an effect, which nobody believed.
Yeah.
The context too, because I tested.
Does the seasonal effect work on all of this, or just gold?
At the moment, for example, you can make carbon monoxide in any moment, but to make gold and to destroy the radioactive waste, you have to work only in the right period. And mainly April, March, and very probably October. As a matter of fact, I have not ever had occasion.
April, May.
April, May was best season. April, May works without any problem. April, May, the period in which we made gold and then. Already we went to New Jersey. It was near about the 10th of June, and already the result was becoming lower, but the radioactive stuff came out.
They saw it. So those scientists to this day believe it, probably.
Oh yes, they know. They made it. They don't understand
they don't know what powder went in. They don't know the formula really, or maybe they do.
No. Because in the contract we gave also the formula, but they don't know about the seasonal effect. They thought that in some way we found a way to.
So they could be using it, but failing sometimes and succeeding other times.
Probably like why the Samuel went in jail? Because he notwithstanding I told him that there is an effect, he never believed. So he sold this formula for any season. All the people who use this formula in the wrong season suited him for damages. This is one of the reasons why he's because the other is the fact that he was trying to build a factory for making gold in Nevada, but it was out of the state. He couldn't go there, but he signed an agreement.
Right. And
this was out of the law,
so
they
from his probation.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And this is only a small part.
Okay. By the way, this is only a tiny thing, small thing. May help you, may help us, who knows, it doesn't matter. We do have in New Hampshire, okay, a laboratory, good sized laboratory. The real estate is cheap. We have a hood and so forth. It's not important, but we do have people working at our lab, New Energy Research Lab. So, a very competent chemist, Ed Wall, engineer. He was here. I know you may have met him.
Yeah,
so, if there is some work that needs to be done at some point, let us know. We'll help you.
The laboratory I will do in Italy,
Yeah.
and I work with
Sure.
me and my son, which is now
I understand.
starting
No, I
phase.
understand.
Because it's not necessary anymore, because I can make all the operations.
Experiments that you need. Fine. Good. Okay. Excellent. I will.